Hello managers of ISEC for Morocco, my name is Agata and I'm your MCVPTM, and I'm super excited to start today our new series called Manage Up, especially for you, for managers of our entity, to level up your skills and provide you even better experience that you are having right now. So today we are starting with the first video in the series that is called All You Want to Know But You're Afraid to Ask, and I will try to share with you my own experience from the time when I was manager, and some tips and tricks that we know as MC team, how to make your experience really, really awesome. So let's start with the first part. The first question that many of you are asking your VPs TM is, why do we actually need managers? Why your positions exist in your entities? So the answer is very simple. First of all, you support directly your VPs. You have the position that works very directly with your respective VPs, and you support them a lot in their daily job. So in other words, trust me that your VPs will not be able to perform and do their job and lead their commissions and lead their departments without your support. So you are really, really necessary for them to lead the whole department. And also to do the job that cannot be done by members, simply because managers are people who have usually more experience than members who have just joined ISEC. That's why you sometimes can perform the job that couldn't be done by people without this experience. That's why for certain positions we didn't create teams with team leader and members on purpose, simply because we believe that this particular job can be done only by managers, by people with more experience. Okay, and also we have a small myth buster for you, number one. A lot of people say that manager is a replacement for TL. So by now I really hope that you understand why manager is not a replacement for TL. Manager is a very crucial position in some departments, and they do the job, you do the job that couldn't be done by the team and could not be done by LCVP or SVP only without your help. Okay, the next question, is back office important? A lot of people ask this question to VPs TM and to MC team, why do we actually need back office if you don't really do exchanges, if you don't go to Expo and approve? So our answer is, of course, back office is super important. Trust me that your VPs TM plan the positions in back office and plan the structure of the whole entity very, very carefully. And we really believe that without back office support, front office will not perform. So as you can see, basically front office would not have enough resources to work with. And by resources, we mean, first of all, people that are in this structure, back office and front office to do the job. They will not have finance resources, and they will not have, for example, materials like marketing, promotional materials, and so on. And you also need to remember that back office drives exchange. It's not only supporting and helping and waiting for front office to come and ask you to do something, but it's also driving exchange. So here we want to focus a lot on being innovative and being proactive, and how you can actually come up with some innovative idea or new solution to start driving exchange in your entity. And we have a second myth buster for you. A lot of people say that their job description is boring, because managers sometimes have job descriptions and have tasks that are repetitive. You do very simple job for a very long time. So guys, as back office, this does not have to be boring. Like I told you, our main focus is to start being innovative and to start coming up with new solutions, how you can drive exchanges. And once you overstep your basic JD and try to innovate and try to be really, really super proactive, your job description will no longer be boring, because you will start doing things that are not mandatory to be done, but that bring the biggest added value and the biggest learning points for you as manager. And another question for you, what is your role inside middle management? A lot of people ask this question, what is actually your role, since you are not a team leader and you don't lead people, but still you are somewhere there in middle management. So your basic role is to track and support. You will see that as a manager, especially in TM or finance, you will be tracking your team leaders a lot. For example, from implementing team standards or LDA, or sending invoices and things like this. So you will be working directly with your team leaders and tracking if things connected with, for example, TM and finance are actually done. And your role is also to support them, because very, very often as manager, you had the experience of team leader previously. So you've been in this place, you try to lead people, to manage your team and so on. And stepping back and looking how your peers in middle management actually lead their teams might give you an opportunity to give them some insights, inputs, to share your own experience and so on. So whenever you have sharing spaces and things like this, try to listen to the challenges that your team leaders have, and maybe try to give them some inputs from a totally different perspective, from a person that have been there or maybe have never been there, but still can bring something additional to the table. And the mythbuster number 3, I'm not a part of middle management. That's something that we hear a lot from managers, that they are not part of middle management because there are more team leaders, and what are you actually supposed to do with this amount of team leaders and so on. So guys, no, the idea of middle management and calling this group of people middle management and not only team leaders is exactly our focus, and why we decided to include managers in this middle management thing. Simply because we believe that your role is equally important to team leaders, and even though you don't have your own team members and you don't lead a team, you work with your VP on the same level that team leader does. So it's super important for you to remember that you are a very integral part of middle management, and you can bring a lot to the table, even though your JD might be different from a team leader. And now we have a little tips for you gathered from our MC team, how to actually make your experience even better, and how to work on it so that you are a very, very well-performing manager. So the first tip for you is the communication. I can really tell you from my own experience that being very close in terms of work to my VP helped me a lot. I was communicating with my VP on daily basis, on different communication channels. We're having frequent meetings, which allowed me to really stay updated what's going on in the whole entity, and also have a sense of belonging, let's call it this way. Since you don't have your own team, try to stay close to your VP so that you have a sense of belonging to your department, you have some basic human interaction with someone from EV and so on, and it's a really nice activity. Another thing is co-creation. Try to be as innovative and proactive as possible. As I told you before, if you really step over your basic JD and start doing things that are not mandatory, but things that bring the biggest added value, you will really feel a huge satisfaction. So it's a second step of communication. Try to co-create with your VP as much as possible. Try to co-create with your team leaders. You can always ask them for a synergy meeting and some co-creation working space or anything you come up with, and try to innovate and be very proactive to come up with the ideas that are not already implemented in your LC. Maybe you will be the biggest innovator in your entity, and you will bring something that will be a breakthrough in your entity for the summer week. And the last part is about entrepreneurship. Remember that everything that we talked about is kind of summed up in this word, entrepreneurship. What we understand by entrepreneur, that it's a person who is willing and able to convert a new idea or invention into a successful innovation. And I think that this very short definition really fits your JD as a manager. You are a person who should be willing to think of new ideas and innovations and try to implement them in your entity. You work on your own, you work with your VP, you work in a structure of your LC, but still you can be extremely creative, and you can be proactive to come up with something different. And the biggest example I can give you is when you are working with data. A lot of people say that working with data and analyzing data is a boring JD. This is again a part about boring JD. But if you decide to have more entrepreneurial spirit, and if you decide to innovate and be more proactive, you can make an analysis of this data that will be super beneficial for your entity, and it will really bring a change. If, for example, your entity see the differences between departments, or differences between the teams, or maybe differences in the number of applicants or applications that your LC is getting, it will bring a huge change. And this is exactly what entrepreneurship means in ISEC. So I hope that thanks to this super simple tips and experience that I've shared with you, we'll be really able to go massive in this month, and we'll show the power of not only back office, but especially managers working in this back office. And I'm also inviting you for the live that we'll be having tonight, straight from MC Flat, about when we'll try to answer your questions about being a manager. So whenever you're a manager, doesn't matter from which department, try to stay updated, and please attend the live. We'll be answering directly all your concerns. So see you tonight, guys. Thank you.